All right, so we just got done watching Monday Night Raw, and it was pretty good. I gotta say, it was pretty good. So obviously, I'm gonna go through some of the big parts, but not everything. I'm gonna just kind of go through the interesting parts. I really want to get towards the end because we saw a ton of really good stuff down the line. So obviously, it starts with Gunther, Jey Uso, Logan Paul. Logan Paul's in the ring talking. Gunther comes out and has some things to say as well. This is just probably would be my guess, setting up for a lot of different options for them moving forward because now Logan Paul is getting a title shot. Now he's likely to lose, would be my guess, right? I doubt they're going to put the title on Logan Paul. Does that open up something with Gunther and Logan Paul going forward? Potentially, right? Potentially. So we'll see what happens with that. We then got a match between AJ Styles and Penta versus the Judgment Day. I really liked a lot of this. They were starting to build more Judgment Day storylines here, with the potential for whenever Finn Balor kind of goes off. Now, at the time, we didn't know what would be coming towards the end of the show, but they're just continuing to kind of lay the groundwork on something potentially big. And of course, they continue the feud with El Grande Americano with him screwing over Penta. So I had no problem with that. I thought it was really good. So no problem with that at all. Good match overall. Fans liked it. All of that. We then had Becky Lynch go after Io Sky a little bit before her match. So Becky Lynch calls out Io Sky, basically says, "I'm coming for the championship," and then we get to the next match. So Becky Lynch versus Natalia versus Roxanne Perez. This was a Money in the Bank qualifier. Now the crowd did not seem to be completely into it, but there were parts of this where we did see, a little bit of a pop. So obviously Roxanne Perez ends up winning this. So she's going to be in the Money in the Bank match. Now they built out a feud between Becky Lynch and Lyra, right? They continued that. Lyra comes out, beats up Becky Lynch a ton, and really screws her out of winning this. So they're continuing that feud. So it was a little bit interesting that on one hand, you're building Io Sky and Becky Lynch, maybe something down the line. But in this moment, right, at least we know going forward, there's going to be some more between Lyra and Becky Lynch. So keep your eyes on both of those. The next match, Grayson Waller versus Sheamus. Not a ton to say about that one, but it was definitely, one of those cool things to watch, but not a ton to say about that one. We had a announcement that I guess Tyrese Halliburton is going to be in the DLC pack for WWE 2K25. That's pretty funny. And pretty cool. The more guys you get in there, the better. It's obviously one of those situations where, you know, it's cool to have him in there. At the same time, you always want to see as many legends as possible in the game, but nothing wrong with that. Rhea Ripley ends up winning the Money in the Bank qualifier, so she will be there. What an amazing addition to that match, right? Now we get to the parts that I really want to talk about. Okay, these are the big parts of the night. So the first thing, well, actually, before we get into that, the Rusev promo I thought was pretty good on Akira Tozawa. I would like to see Akira actually get in a really cool storyline. This one might be it, and I think Rusev is doing a great job. So let's keep our eyes on that. There's some potential with that storyline as well. Okay, now on to the big parts. This moment in the Judgment Day clubhouse, as they're calling it here, is setting up for something that could possibly be so cool. So Finn Balor. Now remember, we've been waiting for months for Finn Balor to potentially leave the Judgment Day in some form, something to happen. He's been mad at certainly Liv, Dom at points. It has just been not a great time for Finn Balor and the Judgment Day because everyone else has kind of won titles. Finn Balor has not really been winning titles. So there's been that, clearly a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of things that are going on. He wants to be in charge. It looks like Liv Morgan's in charge. Well, now he adds in Roxanne Perez to the Judgment Day. Now, there's two reasons I really like this. First off, it gives Roxanne right off the bat a pretty big storyline to be a part of, because part of the problem when you bring someone like Roxanne in is she gets so much attention on NXT, but when you bring her onto Raw, well, now she's in a little bit of a little bit of a tougher situation to get noticed and for fans to care about her as much as they did on NXT. By putting her into the Judgment Day like this, well, now she's on TV, not alone, but with the rest of the Judgment Day. That's number one. Number two, and we'll talk about this in a second, This is clearly building to something massive down the line in terms of I could see a Judgment Day split where you have two sides going at it. But most of all, I could see a feud between Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan down the line. I think that's where this is going. Obviously, I don't know for sure. But if you watch, we saw everybody else was kind of fine with Roxanne Perez, right? They maybe were a little skeptical at first, but then they come around to it. But the person who is definitely not okay with it is Raquel Rodriguez. And she says, Liv will hear about this, and Finn is happy to hear that she will hear about it, right? Because he's clearly, that's where he views as the enemy. So there's a lot of stuff here that's going to be in future, episodes of Raw, future weeks. We're going to get to see more and more of this, and I just think it's a great place to start Roxanne Perez because it's tough coming from NXT. Well, let's put her in a feud and let's make people care. Well, what better way to do that than putting her? This is what factions exist for, right? This is why factions are so powerful and they do such a good job of building stars because people already care about this, right? You're inserting her into a major storyline. So I could not be happier with this. Could not be happier with this. Okay, then the main event. So Braun Breaker versus main event Jey Uso. Now they pitched this whole thing, right? This entire thing was pitched as it's basically just Braun Breaker attacking Jey Uso, right? That was the whole pitch of this thing, where that's what it's meant to be. That's what it's meant to be. Now, at the end of the match, Seth Rollins comes out, starts beating him up. Then we get CM Punk, we get Sami Zayn. Everybody kind of fights, with the ending being Logan Paul punching out Jey Uso. This was a great Raw before the Saturday night main event. I think you saw the excitement in the you just saw the excitement. They were singing along with CM Punk's theme song. So everybody, like, it's not technically, I guess, a title match, right? Because there's no title on the line, but that's going to be one of the top matches at Saturday night main event. All of these guys going at it. And the thing I thought of the entirety of the time, when I was kind of watching the end of this, is it's just so nice to see Seth Rollins being put in the positions he's being put into. Because I feel like for so long, Seth Rollins' character has been loved by fans. He's been a big part of WWE, and there's no question about that over the past few years. But you just felt like, especially in the past 2 years, that he was always just kind of the odd man out, at WrestleMania, right? He's wrestling injured. He's just this major part of that whole thing. Cody finishing his story, but he's not, the one winning a championship. He's not the focal point of that. I feel like by turning him heel, putting him as part of this Paul Heyman faction, he's doing his own thing. And being the heel is working way better because as a baby face, he's just amongst all these other really great baby faces, right? He's amongst Cody Rhodes and CM Punk and Roman Reigns and all of these guys. Whereas as a heel, sure, there's a lot of great heels in WWE, but he's kind of already brought himself up to one of the top heels in the company. Now, I would say the top heel, but when you're talking about John Cena and his retirement tour being heel, that one is certainly the biggest, right? But he's doing a great job, and I think there's so much focus on him now, and it's so well deserved, and it's so much better than kind of having him be okay. He's a baby face, but people don't really know, is he a baby face or a heel, because they cheer for him and they boo him for this, cheer for him for this. I think they've done a great job putting Braun Breaker as part of this faction, putting Paul Heyman as part of it. It just is working so far. And we'll have to see. They have to continue it. We'll see how good this match is, come Saturday night main event. I have a lot of optimism, though, that they're going to deliver and deliver in a big way. So thank you all for watching.